the feasibility study, getting down to details. On page 5 of chapter 3, we have the 3 areas broken down that you need to complete before you move ahead with your business, or if you've already moved ahead, to go ahead and relook at, because it can change the direction that your business is moving. So let's talk about those quickly. The first one is market analysis. Market analysis is: who are our customer targets? How big is the market? Is the market growing? And what are the costs required to reach that market? Number 2, competitive analysis. Who are your major competitors? Remember, if you're selling pizza, it's not just necessarily your competitors are the other pizza makers. It's everybody who's selling food in that price range. Is your product or service superior to the competition? Would it be easy for competitors to duplicate your product or service? What are your competitors' strengths and weaknesses? And how will competitors respond when your firm enters the market? And how will you get their customers to come to you? Number 3, cost analysis. What will it cost to start and run your business? Where will you raise the money? How much can you reasonably hope to make in the business? What volume of sales will be required to break even? And what volume of sales is required to earn a reasonable return on your investment? So let's look at number 1, market analysis. On page 3-6, we begin to ask the question of who, what, and where. What is market research? To put it formally, in the words of the American Marketing Association, marketing research is the systematic gathering, recording, analyzing of data about problems relating to the marketing of your goods and services. For a successful small business owner, you must know the market. To learn the market, you must analyze it, a process that takes time and effort. Let's talk about some of the questions that you're going to need specifically to be able to answer. One of the most important is, who is your customer? Each of you need to be able to take out a piece of paper, and on that one piece of paper you need to define specifically who your customer is. It's probably not everybody above the age of 5, but it's a specific target market. So some questions that you need to be able to answer. Do you know who your customers will be? Do you understand their needs and desires? Do you know where they live? Will you be offering the kind of product or services that they will buy? Will your prices be competitive in quality and value? Will your business be conveniently located? Will there be adequate parking facilities? Market research is not a perfect science. It deals with people and their constantly changing likes and dislikes. Now let's talk about market segmentation. How do we segment that market? In other words, each group or segment can be targeted by a different marketing mix because the segments are created to minimize the differences between respondents. Let's talk about what does that mean. There are good reasons for dividing a market into smaller segments or smaller pieces. The primary reasons are easier marketing. It's easier to address the needs of a smaller group of customers. In other words, you can't sell to everybody in the United States when you start off. You need a tight group of customers who are really excited about what you have. Find niches. Identify underserved or unserved markets. Using niche marketing segmentation can allow a new company or product to target less contested buyers. Do something or find an area that customers are being underserved. When do you do market segmentation? First of all, we got to make sure the market is big enough. Market must be large enough to warrant segmenting. In other words, don't try to split a market that's already very small. Differences. Differences must exist between the members of the market. In other words, you've got to be able to put people in different categories. Are we looking for people between the ages of 25 and 45 married and kids? Are we looking for single people that might need our product and services and that are only living in apartments? Once the market is segmented, you must be able to design marketing communications that address the needs of the desired segments. And then last, you must be able to reach that market through a particular advertising media. Whether it's newspaper, one-on-one, a referral system, coupons, direct mail, you've got to be able to reach that market. What information to use to segment a market or to classify that market? 4 basic areas. 1, demographic variables. What does that mean? Age, gender, income, ethnicity, marital status, education, occupation, household size, length of residence, type of residence, to name a few. Geographic variables. the city, the state, the zip code, the census tract, the county, the region, metropolitan or rural location, population density, even the climate. Psychographic variables. These deal with things like attitudes, lifestyles, hobbies, risk aversion, personality traits, leadership traits, magazines they read, television programs they watch, and then behavioral variables. Things like brand loyalty, usage level, benefits sought, distribution channels, and how do they react to the way you market. Why do market research? It's tough, impossible to sell people what they don't want. Remember the Nehru jacket? We've got to find what our customer wants. Marketing research focuses on organizing marketing information. It ensures that such information is timely. It provides what you need to know. It reduces the risk of the business. It spots problems and potential problems, identifies profit and sales opportunities, and it gets basic facts about your market to help you make better decisions and set up plans of action. The dilemma for small business owners is that properly done market research can be fairly expensive, takes time, and may even require professional expertise. Acquiring all the necessary data to reduce the risk of your business may cost so much and take so long that you may go out of business before you even get in. The answer is to find a quick and inexpensive way of getting enough data to help you make the right decisions most of the time. Some obvious pitfalls in doing your market research are using a sample that does not represent the total market, asking the wrong questions, not listening to the responses, building biases that distort the reliability of the information, depending upon how you ask a question. If you ask somebody, "You do like this, don't you?" then what are they going to say? Yes. And you got to make sure that you don't ask leading questions, letting arrogance or hostility cut off communication at some point in the marketing process. On the bottom of page 3-9, if you're looking for information on the state of business in the United States, there's a single source for everything from regional and industry outlooks to job forecasts and consumer spending trends. What is it? It's the website for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We have that listed. It's www.bls.gov. It's a source of information that we're going to ask each of you to take a look at and begin to compile the demographic and market research information for your business. Now, how do you go about market research? Well, let's talk about some ways. License plate analysis. In many states, license plates give you information about where a car owner lives. So if you're talking about a particular area that your business is going to be in, then you may want to go through there and just write down license plates. You can generally get information from state agencies on how to extract this information from license numbers. By taking down the numbers of cars parked in your location, you can estimate your trading area, how far these people are coming from. Knowing where your customers live can help you aim your advertising for good effect. Telephone number analysis. Like license plates, telephone numbers can tell you the areas in which people live. You get customers' telephone numbers on sales slips from checks, credit cards, and the like. As noted before, knowing where your customers live can give you an excellent idea of the way they live and what they're like. You can check the relative effectiveness of your advertising by coding coupons and including phrases customers must use to get a specific discount. People watching. You can learn a great deal about your customers just by looking at them. How are they dressed? How old do they appear to be? Are they married? Do they have children? This technique is obvious, and most owner-managers get the feel for their clientele just in this way. But how about running a tally sheet for a week, keeping track of what you're able to tell about your customers from simple outward clues? Customer surveys. If you're a business owner, these questions are for you. Have you conducted your own private interview of customers? Have you personally talked to at least 50 to 60 customers to find out what they like and dislike about your business, product, or service? On page 3-46 is a sample customer survey. I would suggest each of you copy it and use it in your business as something to bring what we call internal data, things that you already know about your business but may not really be aware of. An advisory board. Occasionally convene a group of local people whose opinions you respect to act as a sounding board for new ideas. User groups. Gather customers together to discuss new ideas. Their opinions can keep your business on track. An informal survey. If you seek feedback from customers by simply asking, "How was everything?" you can be seriously misled. Most people, even those with legitimate complaints, are reluctant to speak out because they're afraid of appearing foolish. This tendency is probably more widespread in smaller communities where friendships often stand in the way of critical review. Also, if your attitude is such that customers feel complaining will not do any good, you may be antagonizing customers without even knowing it. One solution is to take a few customers aside and ask them some sincere questions about how your business met their expectations and where it fell short. If your customer appears uneasy, don't press the issue. You'll only force him or her to give you a pat answer. If you get a good response, take notes. Follow-up letters thanking the customers and telling them what you plan to do with their suggestions. A suggestion box can even work if you're already in business. Read the suggestions. Do something about the suggestions. Reward those who give you good ideas. Sample survey. Canvass the neighborhood you're in. You know, if you're opening up in a particular area of town, then what I would suggest you do, you get you 1,000 business cards, and within 45 days you need to give each one of these 1,000 business cards out personally by saying something like, my name is Gary Johnson. I've just opened up an accounting practice in this area, and what I'm doing is coming by, meeting my neighbors and saying hello. I'm sure you've already got someone that is your CPA, but just wanted to say hello, and if you ever need anybody in this area, let me know. And then follow that up with a thank you card. What you've done is put yourself above and beyond the average person out there. Get 10 to 15 people together in a relaxed setting and encourage them to talk about products or services that they like or dislike. Use somebody yourself as a moderator of the group. Tape record this session. Brainstorming. This is a variation of the focus group in which participants are encouraged to free will in their thinking to produce as many suggestions as possible. Complaint analysis. Encourage your customers to contact you directly if they have complaints. Comparison shopping. Arrange with someone in a similar business located out of town to come to your shop, your business, or your service and several of the competitors. Then return the favor and compare notes. This will avoid the danger of your becoming complacent about your premises and overlooking things that may be annoying or confusing to your customers. Customer analysis. Each of us should tabulate the following information about our customers on a regular basis, such as the age of our customers, the size of the buying group. Is it families? Is it single parents? Is it the kids that are buying? The sex of the decision maker, geographic location. Sort checks and sales slips by zip code or ask customers to mark their home on a map with a colored pencil. Average amount of the purchase. Was it a coupon purchase? Was it a service? How many times have they used your service in the past? What radio stations do they listen to? What newspapers do they read? Or do they even read a newspaper in this electronic age? Full price buyers versus those who respond to sales or specials. A businessman's judgment is no better than his information. Keep a customer want list. Keep a notebook at your cash register or front desk or in your office and write down every request you receive for items or for service that you don't handle. A periodic review of this list will give you valuable clues about sales you're losing on new products and services, what you should be carrying. Industry analysis. On business trips or vacations. Vacations, of course, that you're going to turn into a business trip, right? We show you how to do that in the class. Visit businesses similar to yours. Take pictures of signs, storefronts, displays, and talk to the owners to compare notes on new products, services, or marketing techniques. If you're talking to somebody that's 1,000 miles away from your business, they are not going to be competition or a threat for you or them. They're much more likely to share information about their business than your next door neighbor. Sales representatives. Representatives who call on other similar businesses in your area can provide valuable information on business trends, new items, and changes in the industry. But be sure this is an individual that you can trust and not someone just wanting to set you up for a big order. Exit interviews. When someone leaves your employ, be sure to spend sufficient time to find out exactly why he or she is leaving. Probe deep to learn what may be occurring in your business that causes hard feelings, employee conflict, or customer dissatisfaction. It is important that your employees leave with a good feeling about you and your business so that they will not spread unfounded rumors. Now, external methods. Once you've exhausted all the services that you can do about your own business, things that you can do, where do you go? Well, the next step in the process are do what we call primary and secondary market research on the outside of your business. Primary market research is what you do yourself. It's you going out, gathering, collecting information. Secondary market research is what somebody else has already done. It's information that's been collected by other companies, trade associations, or businesses. Where do we start first? We start first with secondary market research. Why? Because we don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. If it's already been done, somebody already knows, then let's take their information and then put on top of it what we personally come up with. Now, where do we get this information? I want you to turn to page 3-47, page 47, chapter 3. And it's titled, Where to Find Industry, Financial, and Operating Ratios. Folks, there is so much information available to you out there. It is unbelievable. There are gems of wisdom available to you. Information. Let's talk about where to get it. First of all, there's a couple of books that I would like each of you to take some time and effort and energy to look for. One is called The Small Business Sourcebook. This is available in the library. It's a very expensive book to purchase, so you need to go to one of the major libraries, and you might want to check and make sure before you go that they have it. It's normally in the business section, and it's normally available from the reference librarian. What is in the Small Business Sourcebook? An unbelievable amount of information about most businesses. Not every business, but we'll talk about where to find every business in a minute. But most business. What does it include? Let's say that I wanted to open up a pet store or a business to provide services to pets, whether it's boarding or whether it's a pet product or service, whatever the case may be. If we will look in this section of the Small Business Sourcebook, we will find pet store/services. And in there, what they have done is they have compiled information about where to get information on pet stores and services. Now, the Small Business Sourcebook doesn't have the information itself, but it has of where to go get it. And if you'll get that book, you'll find that it starts off by telling you all kinds of books and references that have been written on how to start and run that specific business and that specific industry. What's available in the Small Business Sourcebook? Well, first of all, the first section normally deals with sources of information with regard to how to start and operate that business. People that have already been in that industry that are willing to give information, books, literature, magazines that have been written specifically on the operating guidelines for that business. Number two, trade associations, primary trade associations. All of us who have been in business for very long normally realize that there's a trade association, whether it's the BBSI, which would be the Beauty and Barber Supply Institute for the salon industry, whether it's the NRA, the National Rental Association. There is an association out there for almost any business in the United States. Electrical contractors, heating and air conditioning, pool maintenance. There is even a Quick Oil Lube and Change Association. Why do we want to become members of that association? Because of the information that we receive. They have and compile information from their members. What does that mean? They give you operating characteristics. In other words, if you were going to open up a rental store, they can tell you what your rent per square foot should be. They can tell you how often you should rent that lawnmower and how long you should keep it and what price you should charge. So they have a tremendous information. I'm going to encourage everyone to join their primary or association or at least one of the associations within their industry for this information. What else is in the Small Business Sourcebook? Sources of supply, consultants, magazines, trade shows, conventions where many of the people just exactly like you are going to be. So the information in the Small Business Sourcebook is extremely critical. Take your nickels, dimes, quarters, and a pad of paper down to the library. You can make copies out of it for business purposes, for training purposes, for education purposes. Now, not every business in the world is in the Small Business Sourcebook, but there is another book that I would challenge you to look in called the Encyclopedia of Associations. Both these books, the Small Business Sourcebook and the Encyclopedia of Associations, are by Gale Research Company. And again, if you'll talk to the reference librarian, who will be more than excited because only about 3% of the small business owners ever go into a library, they'll be glad to help you. What's in the Encyclopedia of Associations? In the Encyclopedia of Associations is exactly what it says, a listing of all, not just some, all of the associations. There are over 12,000 associations listed in this book, all the way from people like the Flying Funeral Directors of America to the National Sauerkraut Packers. And so they have a tremendous source of information. I'm going to suggest that you join that association again, and if at least not join, Call them, send them a letter, and that information, the phone number, the email address, the website, is all available in that book, The Encyclopedia of Associations. And find out what information they have that's already been put together for your business. Now, if you look on page 3-16, we have some sample secondary market information. And we get that information from, at the top of that page, and it's available free to you at www.infods.com/free data, and that's on the top of page 316. These statistics are available for any zip code in the United States, and they'll take that particular zip code that you may be interested in and compare that to the national. For the Fort Worth area, zip code 76137, and we've looked at the total population versus the national population. And it breaks it out between ethnicity, the population, the median income, and the home value. Now, in addition to that, on page 317, there's another website. It's available. It's called www.zapdata.com. Free market analysis with information regarding market size statistics, market analysis by company size, market analysis by state, market analysis by metro area, and market analysis by specialty. We picked one up for florist. And for a florist, their code is 5992. It gives you the number of establishments in the United States, because we did it for that. Size, how big they are, how small they are. It tells you the total sales. It gives you the average number of employees. It gives it by state or geographic area. A tremendous information. So in other words, if I was wanting to know how many floral shops there are in Houston, Texas, instead of me trying to count them, I can go to this report, I can get a good listing, I can go to the trade association, or I can go to the Small Business Sourcebook and find that information. Why should I spend hours and thousands of dollars on collecting information that somebody else has available free? On page 318, U.S. Census data. We have their website at the top of that page. I encourage each and every person to sit down and take a look at this. The amount of information that is in there is staggering. If you're looking for individuals of a certain age, of a certain ethnicity, if you're looking for businesses, that information is available. The types, the ages, the groups. It's so much information that you can spend 3 or 4 hours and collect information that on your own would take days and weeks and thousands of dollars to accumulate.